Our first inductee this afternoon is a good friend and colleague, Coach Mark Ambrose. Mark is a graduate of Providence College and started his teaching career at Fitchburg High School in 1975, where he went on to teach and coach for the next 32 years. In 1976, Mark became the first girls cross-country coach at Fitchburg High School, a position he held until 2008. He also coached girls indoor and outdoor track in his time at the high school. His teams always represented Fitchburg High School with class and enthusiasm, always modeling their coach's lead. I do not think I have ever been around a more positive, enthusiastic, and energetic coach than Mark Ambrose. I will never forget the magical season in 1989, my first year at Fitchburg High School, where his Lady Raiders won the state championship. As impressive as the championship was, what I'll always remember from that day is Coach Ambrose doing a backflip to celebrate that victory. I will not ask Mark to repeat that today. Join me in welcoming Coach Mark Ambrose to the Fitchburg High School Hall of Fame.
Committee for bestowing this once-in-a-lifetime honor to me. Congratulations to the 9 other inductees. As a coach, I witnessed firsthand 8 of these inductees exhibit a relentless work ethic, an interest in their own success as well as their teams, and exemplary performances both on the field and in the classroom. Coaching is a gift I had the benefit of receiving. During my 59 coaching seasons across country, indoor and outdoor track, I was honored to be called coach. What excitement to see motivated athletes learn the basics, keep practicing to improve, and love the fact that we represented Fitchburg High. Many of the young ladies I coached are now great wives and mothers, raising athletes of their own. Some are coaches, and many are successful in the business or teaching world. Cindy Coleman coaches Fitchburg, Danielle Brito Leominster High, and today's inductee Christine Laxo-Shaw coaches in Manchester, New Hampshire. Like me, these coaches experience the team bond and heartfelt team spirit as they root their athletes on. Both team victories and defeats are great teachers in how to live life successfully. Laughter and tears shared with teammates are unforgettable moments. In my opinion, a teaching career should combine with a coaching career whenever possible. The two together made my career at Fitchburg High School unforgettable. I was blessed to have coached with both Hall of Fame coaches and athletic directors. I spent many of my cross-country years alongside Ed Gastigay. One could not ask for a better coaching model. He loved the sport and his athletes loved him. I also spent years coaching with Chris Woods. He too took pride in his athletes. His websites and his guidance office walls show his love for the Red Raiders. Ed, Chris, and I laughed and joked on the bus rides, sharing our coaching philosophies, and honored our seasons with wonderful banquets at Slattery's restaurant. It too was a privilege to coach with Steve Shifty LeBlanc. Shifty was involved with all aspects of Fitchburg High, but his love for his athletes and outdoor track was second to none. His organizational skills and down-to-earth manner made coaching with him fun. I too had the best in athletic directors. I love the honest and spirited Tom Crank, the support and professional attitude of current AD Ray Kazenza, a football coaching legend himself. Like these two, the late Doug Rutchfield always made me feel at ease. Coach Rutchfield encouraged me, believed in me, and made me want to make him proud. Watching him coach, watching him shape high school boys into men, and shaking his hand when he was rightfully named National High School Athletic Director of the Year are seared into my memory. My own family made my coaching years a thrill. I thank my wife, Elaine, for her never-ending support in season after season of weekend meets. She was also a loving supporter of our 2 daughters, Ari and Annika, as they participated in year-round athletics. My daughter Ari was on field hockey, basketball, swimming, and outdoor track. She was focused, loyal to her teammates and teams, and an excellent discus thrower. My daughter, Annika, ran cross-country indoor and outdoor track. She is a proud member of our 1989 Division I state cross-country team and was a school record holder in the hurdles. Both are role model mothers, and their children are and will be great athletes. Sitting right in front of me today is my granddaughter, Emerson Scott, a freshman at Fitchburg Honors Academy, and this season was the #1 runner for the Fitchburg High cross-country team. Her father, Jack Scott, my son-in-law, took over for me in 2008 as the head cross-country coach. So for the past 41 years, girls cross-country coaching has stayed in the family. The love I had for coaching was working with athletes year-round and proudly watching each improve. I love my athletes' hard work and determination in all kinds of weather. Our teams won several league titles, 2 district championships, and in 1989, the Division I Girls Cross Country Championship. That team was inducted into the Hall in 2003. Another proud coaching moment of mine was in 1981, when I walked into Slattery's restaurant and encouraged owner Terry Slattery to start a local road race. 35 years ago, the Slattery's Turkey Trot was born. Over those years, it has welcomed thousands of walkers and runners and has grown to over 1,000 participants per year. In 1984, owner Dave Saluzza suggested that we start a scholarship fund. Our first year, we gave $900 total to 2 athletes. This year, and in the last 8 years, we give 1,000 to 12 athletes, 12,000 a year from 6 area high schools. We've given a total of 212,000, 37,000 of that to Fitchburg High athletes alone. Our race is a proud part of Fitchburg's history. In closing, I thank all of the athletes it was my honor to coach, all the coaches I coached with, all the supportive parents, and the Hall of Fame committee for their recognition. As it says in our alma mater, all hail to the red and gray. We cherish your name, parade. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee is Todd Becker, class of 1980. Todd competed in indoor and outdoor track for 3 years and was outstanding in the field events. However, what Todd was most remembered for was his brilliance on the football field. Todd was a 3-year starter in football, playing running back and linebacker, and served as captain his senior year. During his senior year, he registered 106 solo tackles, which is unbelievable from his linebacker position. His outstanding play at Fitchburg High School earned him many accolades, including memberships on all kinds of all-star teams, including the Shriners All-Star Classic, and a scholarship to Milford Academy and the University of Pittsburgh. Todd starred for 2 years at Pitt and died in a tragic accident days before the team was to leave for the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. Since that time, Todd's memory lives on here at Fitchburg High School. The Todd J. Becker Memorial Award is handed out each year to Fitchburg's team defensive MVP. Accepting today on Todd's behalf is his brother Jason and coach Mike Pellin. Please welcome them as we welcome Todd to the Hall of Fame.
Coach, it's certainly an honor and a pleasure to speak of one of Fitchburg High's true greats in football. I had the pleasure, as a young coach at Fitchburg High, the first position I had was working at B.F. Brown. And Todd had just moved over from B.F. Brown to Fitchburg High. And I'll never forget, in preparation for our big game against Memorial, over came Todd Becker to speak to our kids. And it meant the world to our kids to have a giant like Todd to come and talk about how important this game was and how next year you'll be brothers playing for Fitchburg High. But I watched Todd's coming out party on Thanksgiving. Fitchburg was playing an undefeated Leominster team, and the game was taken into overtime. We later suffered a 3-0 loss in that game, but Todd was immense. And you could tell that he was going to bring football to Fitchburg and bring Fitchburg football to a lot of places it had never been before. And he did. As Coach Cosenza said, he still holds the single-season record for tackles, an incredible 106, and those were the days when teams were playing 10 and 11 games. He also was highly recruited. He went to Milford Academy, where he started in football, and Milford Academy is one of the outstanding New England prep schools where players are recruited to Division I schools. And Todd immediately put Fitchburg on the map because those schools were UCLA, Pitt, Penn State, Syracuse, and his decision came down to the University of Pittsburgh and UCLA. And as I stated earlier, there were a lot of sides to Todd that I admired. But he had a soft side. And this decision wasn't made on his own. He wanted his parents to be able to see him play football, so he chose the Northeast and the University of Pittsburgh. And going there, he was teammates with such NFL notables as Dan Marino, Jimbo Covert, Bill Fralick, Chris Dolman. There were 10 or 12 players at the University of Pittsburgh that were drafted into the NFL. And Todd walked in there and became captain of their special teams. In his freshman year, the team played the University of Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. It was a game I couldn't wait to see, so just as I sat down, Georgia was receiving the kickoff. And there was a gentleman back on the goal line by the name of Herschel Walker. And the ball went directly to Walker, so I had to find number 38. And sure enough, his hat was on Walker's shoulders and drove him to the ground. And I said, wow, this kid is really something special. But there's some great sides to Todd, as I said. Todd was probably one of the most fierce football players ever to wear the red and gray. He truly bled red and gray. He was what Fitchburg football is all about. But, I mean, we're truly fortunate to have someone put Fitchburg high on the map. He's a great inductee into this Hall of Fame, and he's part of a tremendous class today. We are really fortunate to call Todd our brother. He supplied us with many great memories over his years at Fitchburg High. I want to congratulate his family and friends because I know this has been a long journey, but you all made it. Congratulations.
Our next honoree is Christine Laxo Shaw from the class of 2004. Like many of our Hall of Famers, Christine was a 12-season athlete, excelling both on the field and in the classroom. She took part in soccer, cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track. To say Christine excelled in the running the distance events would be an understatement. She set school records in the mile, the 2-mile, the 1600, and the 3200, won numerous district titles, won 2 state championships in the 2-mile, and was a New England champion in the 2-mile her senior year in an indoor season. Christine was also a Gold F recipient and graduated 3rd in her class. Her outstanding work ethic in the classroom and on the track earned her a full scholarship to Boston University. Now, in my 35 years as a coach, I've witnessed many athletes, but I don't think I've witnessed one prepare as hard as Christine did. How driven was Christine? Picture this. Middle of the winter, 1.5 feet of snow, school canceled, snow day. While her classmates and opponents that she'd be running against were sleeping, Christine made her dad take her out in his car, find a parking lot that was plowed so she could get her workout in. Enough said. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Christine Laxo.
Before I begin, all of you should know that this speech is not going to be in chronological order. I'd actually like to begin by fast-forwarding 8 years beyond my FHS graduation to year 2013. In what felt like a homecoming of sorts, my husband and I had just relocated from New York City to Manchester, New Hampshire. The new lifestyle allowed me to accept a position in my spare time as the girls' cross-country and track coach at Manchester Central High School. During my first year of coaching, I developed a tradition entitled Question of the Day, during which a chosen athlete asks the group a question, and each girl takes a few seconds to answer. One day, the question was, "Why do you run?" Answers varied among the group of high school girls. Most were bashful, some were silly, and a few were thought-provoking. Of course, I was required to answer the question as well. I did some quick thinking and must say that I stunned them with my answer. My answer was also a spot-on reflection of what I wish to share on this special occasion today with all of you. There will be some elaborations and thank yous along the way. I told them there's no one reason why I run. There have been many, and they have evolved over the years. I shared 3. First, to the team, I said, I began running to stay in shape for soccer. To you, what that meant was, my love for running actually evolved from a love for soccer. I went out for the indoor track team to get fit during the soccer off-season. My dad loves to tell the story of how I got nearly last place in the 200-meter dash during my first track meet. More humiliating to me was being placed in the 1,000-meter run the next meet, which I thought of as being put out to pasture for the JV runners. I took it as a sign that I wasn't as good of a sprinter as I thought I might be. I really wanted to quit that day. I was struggling to find a place on the team, but deep down inside, I really wanted to do well in the same event my brother Tom, an already established distance runner, was running that night. Well, my effort was enough to catch the attention of Coach Lavers, who shook my hand and invited me to run with the distance group the next day. I sensed the invitation was a special thing. I struggled through 3 miles out past Country Pizza and back that day. I slowly but surely got hooked on the sport, and Melissa Burke took me under her wing. Second, to the team, I said, after I began to realize I may have some potential, it was a combination of a couple of things: enjoying being part of a team and working as hard as I could to see how good I could get. To you, that pretty much summarizes my years at FHS. I loved being a Red Raider, and being a part of that team gave me a sense of pride and belonging. The personal victories were nice, but memories of runs with Melissa Burke, meeting Katie Larkin at 5:30 a.m. for lone league lifting sessions, and winning a team district championship are memories that will last forever. Coach Lavers, Coach Ambrose, Shifty, and Coach Woods created an environment that I am striving to create for the team I coach today, one that is both fun and motivating. At this point, I think it would also be appropriate to thank my parents, still active Fitchburgers, who from the start instilled the values of hard work and teamwork in all of their children, and were there to support their 5 kids every step of the way. Both firm believers of the motto, "It is what you make of it," which is advice I've strived to live by since the time I noticed them doing the same. Third, and finally, to the team, I said, now I run because it's something I enjoy and because it's something I can do healthfully again. To you, that means I'm grateful for what my experience at FHS has led me to. I would say my life at this point is a direct result of what started in high school. It led me to Boston University, where I met my husband Phil on the cross-country team. It shaped my career as a physical therapist, as during my time at BU, I experienced some tough times with injury. After a 5-year spell of being unable to run, I'm extremely grateful to be back on the roads, pounding the pavement again. Yes, training as hard as I can with ambitious goals again, now as a marathoner, but running because it's something I truly enjoy. Also, my decision to coach high school cross-country and track is just a reflection of me wanting to give back to the sport and school that gave so much to me. I would guess that my coaches and parents would be pleased to know that from their coaching and upbringing, I developed a lifelong love and passion for inactivity, and learned a few good lessons along the way, what it means to actually work hard and to never take sport more seriously than life. So, fast forwarding back to the present, thank you to the committee for this special nomination. A formal thank you to the following people who I think of as the team that helped me along the way. My coaches, Coach Ambrose, Coach Lavers, Shifty, Coach Woods, Coach Mack, and Coach Martino. All of my teammates, especially Katie Larkin and Melissa Burke. My partner in life and in training, husband Phil. My siblings, Rob, Jim, Tom, and Sarah. And of course, Mom and Dad. Thank you.
As a coach, every now and then, an athlete comes along that is a born leader. Our next inductee is that person. He comes to us from the class of 1997, Matthew Salila. Matthew played football for 4 years and competed in indoor and outdoor track. I had the pleasure of coaching him all 4 seasons. 3 of which he was a varsity starter. Matt will always be remembered for his incredible work ethic, mental and physical toughness, and outstanding leadership. Matt was a 2-year captain at Fitchburg High School. His honors and accolades are numerous, including 2-year Mid-Watch All-Star, Fitchburg High School Team Most Valuable Player his senior year, 2-year Sentinel All-Star, Telegram and Gazette Super Team, and he played in the Eastern Mass Shriners Classic. Those are all very impressive. But if you asked Matt what his biggest accomplishments were at Fitchburg High School, my guess is that he would say beating Leominster 4 years in a row and beating Milford in the Super Bowl 50-0. Matt went on to Springfield College, where he was a varsity starter for 4 years and was named the first team All-American in his senior year. Matthew, welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Thank you to the committee for considering me. It's an honor. It's an honor to be part of this class, surrounded by great athletes and the rest of the members that came before me. You know, it is difficult to talk about this stuff, so please bear with me. I don't look at awards as something I earned as an individual. I look at it, you know, as people around me. You know, as far as what I accomplished, I wasn't a 1,000-yard rusher. I wasn't a 1,000-point scorer in basketball. I don't know what I had for offensive line stats. I don't know what I had for tackles. You know, I did track. I think I was an average thrower at best. That's what was in my mind. But I know one thing. I loved playing the game of football. You know, throughout my life, I've been told you can be successful if you surround yourself with good people. Sometimes you have that choice. Sometimes you're lucky. You know, I wouldn't have a great family if I didn't have my wife. Thank you. I have. My oldest is with us today. You know, I wouldn't have been successful, you know, wouldn't have a successful coaching season this year without my staff and the support of my AD. Thank you, guys. Would I have received recognition for playing at Springfield if I didn't have some of the best running backs in the country behind me? I don't feel that way. And other linemen around me that were just as outstanding. Would I have made it to the next level playing football without great coaches that taught me the game in high school? Guys like Coach Cosenza, Coach Canning, Coach Gamble, Coach O'Reilly, Coach both teachers, Tommy and Paulie, Coach Hurd, even Guy's favorite, Coach Hay. My freshman coaches, Bobby Cosenza and Pollock. Even in my lackluster track days, I was under the tutelage of names like Chris Woods, greats like Don Woods and Jack Jerzyk. Thank you, coaches, for all that you did for me. As far as what I accomplished on the field, thank you to my teammates. There's so many to mention. I'd leave so many out, but there are some that I got to mention. Guys who were ahead of me that took me under their wing, made playing football fun. Guys like Paul Marble, Mike Roy, Todd Stephanidis, Reggie Arsenal, Danny Schneider, Rob Dudek, and there's many more. And it is impossible to forget the success achieved by my senior teammates that made it from start, our freshman year as an undefeated freshman team, to our last game together, beating Milford in the Super Bowl. And no, I can't forget beating Leominster all 4 years of high school. Who could? But thank you to Paul Agnesi, R.J. Tebow, Guy Lamro, Sean Lord, Devin Gates, Ricky Morales, the late Freddie Robinson, B.J. Graves, Chris Roy, Rich DeMar, Scotty Prasad's even over there, and Tom Emberley. All this stuff happened on the football field. It's all fine and dandy. But I'm not the person I am today without, support of my family. From my support from my uncle and cousin, Leo and Jason, who are with us today, they still come to see me coach. My grandparents, my late grandfather, Leo Ross, and my grandmother, Sally Ross. Thank you for your support. Everything I know about the game and how I played it, mentally, came from bits and pieces from the greatest brothers a man could ask for. Sorry. This is... I'm showing weakness right now, and I apologize. Thank you, Hanu. Thank you, James. Thank you, Jonathan, who I believe was a better lineman than me. Give me 1 second. My mother, Linda, God bless her, she was banned from coming to games because we'd lose. I'm not lying. So I got to have a special thanks to FATV so she could watch from home. She did come to our Super Bowl senior year, and we did win, so the curse was broken. You know, I owe her everything that I am today. She took care of 4 boys alone. You know, I lost my father when I was 6, and she took over. You know, I think that's where I got my toughness from when I look back. Thanks, Mom. Thank you to everyone who has surrounded me to help me be successful. I'm truly lucky to have been surrounded by such great people. Thank you again for this great honor, and to everyone who helped me get here. And I apologize for this speech.
Our next inductee comes to us from the class of 1965. Dennis Beliveau was an outstanding competitor who played football for 3 years, basketball for 2, and ran outdoor track for 3. He was captain of the 1964 undefeated football team, where he started as an offensive lineman. His intensity and hard-nosed play led his teammates to often say, "We're just glad he plays on our team and not against us." An amazing athlete, an amazing man. Here to accept the award posthumously on Dennis's behalf are his wife, Linda Beliveau, and teammate, Dennis Dalton.
Matt, great speech. You spoke to the hearts of all us linemen. We didn't want any glory. We just wanted to knock everyone down so someone else would get the glory. This is a tough one, folks. Dennis Beliveau was our classmate, our teammate, our tri-captain, our friend. Dennis left us much too early, and we miss him. We'll always miss him. When Warren Muir and I were being groomed by Stan Good, then our 6th grade teacher and football coach at the Ashburnham Street School, we can't recall seeing Dennis playing for any of the other grammar school teams in town. But we noticed Jack Jerzyk. How could we miss him? He played for the Hosmer School on South Street. When we came down from the hills of West Fitchburg to finally play tackle football for B.F. Brown Junior High School, there was no Dennis Beliveau in sight. He just wasn't there. But Jack was there. He was center, I was right guard, and a fellow by the name of Ed Bajakian, an 8th grader, was the left guard. Us other 3 beat out all the 8th graders to get our position. The year was 1959, and Pete Stevens was our coach. I've been away from Fitchburg for a long time, but in my humble opinion, Pete Stevens is probably one of the finest men that Fitchburg has ever produced. When we moved on and played freshman football at Fitchburg High School, Jack was center, I was right guard, and Warren was moved up to varsity. That didn't surprise anyone. Still, there was no Dennis in sight. When our varsity years came due, it seemed as though the heavens opened up and God himself dropped Dennis on Crocker Field. We needed him. He was wearing number 63. What a gift. Our undefeated season, Jack was center, Dennis was left guard, I was right guard, and you know where Warren was. Stan Good was now our head coach. Jack and I were bigger than Dennis, but Dennis hit harder, much harder. He came off the line of scrimmage like a rocket. On defense, he and I were linebackers. I was the center linebacker, he was the outside linebacker. And when the opposing player was carrying a ball, Dennis didn't need any help to take him down. And this was all proven when we watched the game films on Monday, our day of rest. You know, sometimes I watched those films and I wanted to send the opposing players that Dennis was up against a sympathy card. And other times, maybe even a get well card. When it is my time, that very moment that I slip into eternity, as Dennis has, and all of us surely will, I think maybe he might be there to greet me, along with Jack and along with Bobby DeMello, our fullback. And Dennis, with his signature Clegon Frenchman smile, will probably say, "Where have you been? What took you so long? This place is great." Friday night, Fitchburg's playing under the lights. We're all going up to the top of Rollstone Hill and watch this wonderful tradition continue. We are grateful for the gift of Crocker Field by Mr. and Mrs. Elva Crocker. Elva may have held the checkbook, but we know Mrs. Crocker was the catalyst. Women know how to get things done. I know. I've been married to one for 46 years. We are also grateful once again that Dennis has brought glory to Fitchburg High School and honor and glory to Crocker Field. Other classmates here today to honor Dennis and who ran in the track with him are Paul Poitras and Barney Keenan. They have some great stories about Dennis. And also Joan Doobie-Fakara. Joan's another woman that knows how to get things done. She has spearheaded our reunion since the very first one, which is on the 5th year. The most important person here today is Dennis's wife, Linda. Linda, your being here today has given us Dennis maybe for a couple of hours, and that means so much to us, and we're grateful for that. And with Linda are her 2 daughters, Cindy and Chrissy, and 3 of Dennis and Linda's 4 grandchildren. We wish to thank all of those who considered Dennis and voted for him in the Hall of Fame. Special thanks to Mike Kelly for your phone calls. Thank you, Mike. Mike's sister was a cheerleader, Jane, and a member of our class. To Ed Gastingay, former teacher, who was at our reunion. He talked to me about Dennis. Strange thing about that reunion, he was our teacher, but he looked to be the youngest one at our reunion. I don't know how that happened. Maybe I should have stayed in Fitchburg. And the firefighter, P.J. Roy, former Fitchburg linesman, for your many emails. P.J., you didn't have much to go on. Where are you, pal? You didn't have much to go on, but you did a good job. You kept digging and digging. Thank you. Local hero, firefighter. I'll close by saying that our coaches told us that there is more character built on the 2-yard line than anywhere else in the world. Well, that may be true for some. I know where character is built elsewhere. And they told us that we would remember this game, this season, for the rest of our lives. Boy, were they right. I'm so glad we beat Leominster. I don't care if it was Charlie Broderick's last game after 35 years, but Warren scored, Dennis blocked, and he went around the right end, and they said you could hear the cheers to Ashburnham. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, team. What they didn't tell us was how much we would fondly remember our teammates in the years ahead. And they probably didn't say that because they didn't realize it. They weren't old enough yet. Now that I'm hitting 70, and I have had time to think about classmates and teammates, I remember them often. I give thanks that I played football with Dennis and not against him. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you, Dennis. Next up, Courtney Jacobs, class of 2004. Courtney has the distinction of entering the Hall of Fame today as an individual and also with her championship team. Miss Jacobs was a 4-year star in 3 sports: field hockey, basketball, and softball. An outstanding all-around athlete, for sure. However, there is no doubt that it was on the softball diamond that Courtney excelled the most. She led our 2004 softball team to the state finals with a total dominating performance on the mound, game in and game out. Consider these mind-blowing statistics. In her career at Fitchburg High School, she struck out 818 batters, held an earned run average of 0.51 in over 473 innings pitched, and finished with a program best record over 4 years of 65 wins and 14 losses. For her efforts, she earned league MVP awards her junior and senior year, of course, Sentinel and Enterprise All-Stars, Telegram and Gazette Super Team, and on and on and on. She even was honored by the Boston Globe as an All-Star, which really happens to a Central Mass athlete in any sport. Courtney went on to Worcester Academy and Franklin Pierce College, where she became the school's all-time strikeout leader, tossing 62 complete games and claiming the single-game strikeout record. Please help me in welcoming Courtney Jacobs to the Fitchburg High School Hall of Fame.
Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for this honor. Thank you to my parents, Sean and Mike Jacobs, also to my brothers, Rick and Mitch Jacobs, for their support and encouragement throughout the years. Thank you to all who have coached me. I know I'll miss many as I read my list. Butch Salmi, Robin King, Denise Davis, Danielle Henderson, Coach Palumbo, Coach Ilario, Coach O'Brien, Coach Billick, Coach Hurley, and Coach Conway. Being inducted into the Fitchburg Athletic Hall of Fame is especially meaningful to me. I explored pitching at a very early age and immediately identified with the excitement and challenge it presented. Butch Salmi was my first pitching coach. I remember being intimidated by his physical size and deep voice. He has the letters B and S tattooed on his 2 fingers, and at the age of 8, I interpreted it as meaning bullshit, meaning he took no bullshit. Later, I would realize the letters were his initials, Butch Salmi. Butch's coaching was a huge influence in my love for the game and the role of being a pitcher. He taught me that repetition and daily practice were the way to teaching my brain to rely on muscle memory when stress was at its highest, a skill I called on throughout my pitching career. There have been a number of pitching coaches throughout my career, from Olympians to pro athletes. I thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to work at this level. Denise Davis, Robin King, and Danielle Henderson taught me not only how to throw pitches and all my mechanics, but the mental aspect of pitching too. I always look forward to my pitching lessons every Sunday in the fall and winter months. Denise and Robin would always challenge me to become a smart, skillful pitcher. I have had my challenges in life, and my experience as a pitcher taught me how to work through stressful situations and overcome obstacles and push through to achieve my goals and manage my time. All of these lessons throughout the years have served me well. Congratulations to my teammates. There were a handful of us who had played together since we were 8 years old. I believe this is one of the many reasons we were so successful as a team. Working with so many coaching personalities and philosophies through our time together as young players through Fitchburg High School made us the success we were, as well as skills and support of all the players on the team. Pitching was a part of my life for 15 years. It wasn't always easy, but I loved it. I always look forward to games and the challenge of throwing batters off. To my family, Mom, Dad, Rick, and Mitch, thank you. I would not be standing here today without your love and support. Thank you to everyone who sits in front of me for this honor.
Thank you, Courtney. Our next honoree is Phil Schoening from the class of 1980. Phil participated in football and basketball his first 2 seasons at Fitchburg High School, and then went on to become a member of the cross-country, indoor, and outdoor track teams. Phil was a 3-sport captain during his senior year. Although he ran a number of distance events, his specialty was in the middle distances. He excelled in the mile relay team and was literally unbeatable in the 600-yard race. In his time at Fitchburg High School, he broke the record for the 600 on 3 different occasions, with his best coming in the most important race to date, when he won the state championship with a time of 1 minute 13.5 seconds, an unbelievable time in 600 yards. A few weeks later, he was invited to run in the Jayhawk National Indoor Track and Field Championship at the University of Kansas, where he set a meet record and won the national championship in the 600. Phil attended Fitchburg State College, where he earned his Bachelor of Science degree in business. He earned his master's degree from Florida Institute of Technology, and he attended Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government in the Senior Executive Fellows Program in 2009. Philip served our country for 28 years in the Army and retired with the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. Thank you for your service, sir, and welcome to our Hall of Fame.
I need to recognize and thank my sister, Anita Carroll, for nominating me 15 years ago when this thing first started, and I appreciate it. I also want to thank my friends and family that are here, and your presence today means a lot to me. Being part of the Fitchburg High athletic experience has had a significant impact on my life, and impact and influence on my life, and has helped shape the person that I am today. As much as I appreciate this day and what this day means to me, this day is not about me at all. It's about the people that made this day possible. This day is about my track and cross-country teammates like Keith Gelinas, Jimmy Herndon, Mark Morin, Bob McNamara, Ricky LaPointe, Buzz Beatty, Barney Page, Michael Vitelli, Jonathan Lewis, and Mark Jackson, just to name a few. You were there every day competing and challenging me to get better. I thank you. This day is about the upperclassmen like Bill Govin, Les Ricks, and Hall of Famer Peter Bergeron, who were role models for us and showed us how to do things right. This day is for the coaches who developed me, instilled discipline in me, encouraged me, and believed in me. This day is about Hall of Fame coach Mark Ambrose, the very first coach in the Fitchburg High School athletic system that made an impression on me even before I got to Fitchburg High School. I first met Coach Ambrose during a summer road race series he held at Coggeshall Park. It was the summer before I entered 7th grade at Memorial Junior High, and I first started running. Coach Ambrose was very supportive and encouraged me to develop my running skills on that first day and throughout that summer. He always supported and encouraged me during my high school career as well. Thank you, Coach Ambrose, for starting the spark in me for running. This day is about Hall of Fame cross-country and track coach Ed Gastingay. Coach Gastingay, the coach with the booming voice, was a coach that I, in all, respected greatly. When you were in his presence, you paid attention because you knew you had the experience he had the experience to make you better. The workouts he developed were always spot on, and they were key to me and all my teammates running well. As with all great coaches, it's always the small things that you remember about them. One of the events that stands out in my mind was my senior year when Coach Gastingay was no longer coaching track. I told him that I was going through a tough time with my workouts before the districts, and on his own time, he took me over to the Fitchburg State Track one rainy day and put me through a one-on-one workout to help me through the rut. That's what I call a dedicated coach. Thank you, Coach Gastingay, for your commitment to your athletes. Finally, this day is for a coach that was not even my track coach. He was my junior high gym teacher and 8th, 9th, and 10th grade football coach, and his name is Coach Pete Caron. I have never told him this before, but he was the most influential person during my formative years. Coach Caron was more than a coach. He was a mentor and a father figure to me when I needed it most. In 8th grade football, when I was afraid to take a hit and could not catch anything thrown to me, he and Coach Dave Bolak stuck with me, and they never let my confidence get down. He worked with me to get better, and I did. By the time 9th grade season came along, I did not miss one pass, and our team went undefeated. More importantly, he followed my high school running career and mentored me and encouraged me along the way. After high school, I worked with him as a constable doing process serving for local attorneys. He also encouraged me to seek political office, which I did, successfully running for the Fitchburg School Committee 2 years out of high school, which, by the way, let me tell you, was an eye-opening experience. The life lessons that I learned from these experiences have been so valuable to me, and I want to say publicly thank you, Coach Karen. I don't believe he's here today, but for believing in me and for always challenging me to get out of my comfort zone and to always to work better and do better. The term coaching literally comes from an old Anglo-Saxon word for a carriage, which is something that takes you from where you are now to where you want to be. In a nutshell, coaching is a vehicle to transport a person from where he is now in life to where he wants to be. It is these coaches, Ambrose, Gaston-Gay, and Karen, that transported me from where I was back then to where I am now. This day is not about me. This day is about them and the influence they had on a young kid like me and all the other kids they've had come in contact with over the years. Gentlemen, I salute you and thank you for the impact you've had on my life. And thanks again for everyone for this great honor.
Our next inductee enters the Fitchburg Hall of Fame posthumously. Robert Williams, class of 1993. Robert was a 4-year star on the football team and a 4-year star in indoor and outdoor track. He captained all 3 sports in his senior year. To say that Bobby Williams was a coach's dream would be an understatement. I believe Coach Woods would agree with me when I say Bobby was one of the most coachable athletes to ever come through Fitchburg High School. So what was it that set him apart? Robert would never be outworked. His work ethic and everything he did was second to none. He never questioned the coach's decision, always wanted what was best for the team. He led through example, not through words. As a matter of fact, he said so little, he received the nickname Word from Coach DiGeronimo. However, when he spoke, everyone listened. Some of his accomplishments include he was on the district championship 4x100 relay team. He led our football team to a Super Bowl in his junior year in 1991. He had 2 1,000-yard rushing seasons his junior and senior year, won numerous individual awards, made numerous all-star teams. He earned a full scholarship to play at the University of Maine. All of these accolades are very impressive, but what set Robert Williams apart in my eyes and in many is that he made everyone else around him better, on the field, on the track, around the school, and in the community. He will be and is sorely missed. Accepting today, on Robert's behalf, are his sisters Yolanda and Terica and his daughter, Aaliyah.
First, I would like to thank the Fitchburg High School, the committee, Coach Kazinza, and the inductees for this memorable opportunity to accept this award on behalf of my brother. Unfortunately, I shouldn't be here, the one to giving this speech today. We always envisioned him here, standing here surrounded with his coaches, teammates, friends, and loved ones, and giving this speech that only he could express. As you all know, my brother, Robert Williams, passed away July 14th of this year, a relentless, hard-hitting, and passionate athlete that will be greatly missed. Only my brother could understand how it felt to accomplish so many achievements. We can remember how excited he was to come home and accept this award. Robert would reminisce about being on that field, being in the locker room, or creating memories with his teammates he could never forget. Robert was 11th son, brother, father, and uncle who could light up a room with just a smile. He gave us many smiles to cherish forever. In closing, my mother couldn't be here, but she wanted me to make sure I say something on her behalf as well. She apologized that she couldn't be here. The death of her son is still having a toll on her. She's very proud of Robert. Robert was a very strong, ambitious, and quiet person. He didn't say much, but when he did say something, she made sure she stopped and listened to everything she had to say. He had to say. Again, thank you. Thank you for all the support and giving him this award.
1990s was an era in which many of our teams flourished at Fitchburg High School. However, our track and field athletes really dominated the day. Our next honoree, Jeff Gannett, class of 1999. Jeff was a big part of that domination. Jeff participated in soccer for 3 years, cross country for 1, indoor track for 4, and outdoor track for 4. He captained all 3 track teams his senior year, and even had the opportunity to captain the soccer team as a junior. Some of Jeff's accomplishments include state champion in the 55 meters hurdles, state champion on the 4x200 meter relay team, Fitchburg High School record holder in the 400 meters, indoor 200 meters, indoor 600 meter hurdles, and the 4x200 relay team. Jeff was also named to multiple All-Star teams, including Midwatch A All-Stars, Sentinel and Enterprise All-Stars, and Telegram and Gazette Super Team. Jeff was a Gold F recipient, valedictorian of his class, and the 1999 General Excellence Award winner. He went on to Dartmouth College and participated in track and field, where he was Ivy League champion in the 400 meter hurdles and a member of the Ivy League 4x400 meter relay championship team. He also earned academic All-Ivy honors in 2003. Now, I guess Dartmouth University wasn't challenging enough for Jeff, so he went on to Brown University, where he earned a Doctorate of Medicine degree in 2013. Welcome to the Fitchburg High School Hall of Fame, Dr. Jeff Gannett.
It's very cool to be honored for something that was always very fun and grounding for me, and felt a lot less work than most other things in life. So many people have an impact on what we do and who we become and the accomplishments we each have as individuals. So it's hard to pick any few out, but I'm going to pick two groups out today. One's my family and the other is Coach Woods. So I'm very fortunate that I have a family that has so much stability, and I think that's been a huge part of my grounding and my ability to have these accomplishments that have brought me here. There's always so much encouragement and support, and I've been allowed so much independence to make decisions, but always encouraged to follow my decisions to whatever end that may be. And I still don't know what the end usually is, but it's always evolving. So it's not much more to say, or too much to say, I'm not sure. So going to Coach Woods, you know, it's funny. So I got the opportunity to train and compete at Division I level in college. And so I get there, and you know, I expect everyone to be, well, first of all, people have this thought of track as it's a lot of football guys or softball girls who come in and, you know, they're just doing track to keep in shape and do whatever they need to do for the next thing, and then a bunch of other people who aren't as athletic and just can run or happen to be really fast. So I get to college and I think, well, you know, it's all these people who are going to be really well trained, because it's not really the case. You know, we really train on form, and there are a lot of things that go into it. And I get there and I realize it's mostly people who are really talented, both the people on my team and other people, just really talented and got there out of sheer talent. And the training for me wasn't very different. You know, we had very rigorous laps around the track, not quite running up and down the halls of like the old Fitchburg High, but similar in concept. And
most of my classmates and most of the people at other schools, I realized, had gotten there on sheer talent, hadn't trained that way, and weren't used to the type of training. And what I realized retrospectively is that Chris really was training us in high school at a Division I level, both in rigor and in discipline, and in setting life lessons that most of my colleagues never really learned until later in life. And I think often in high school in particular at that age level, and also growing up in a very diverse place where you're used to seeing all kinds of different people, you take for granted who's around you and what kind of training and education you're getting. And I think it can be very exceptional. So I think Chris is very embodies that. So just keeping short here, I just want to say thanks again to my family and to Chris and Coach Cosenza and Ed Gassengay, who's also very formative helped in my formative years, and to the Hall of Fame committee for having me here today. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. In 2004, Coach Tim O'Brien knew he had a special group returning from the previous year's district champion team that went 22-3. And this group was truly, truly special. Our 2004 state finalist softball team will be our final induction for the day. Final record that year, 23 wins, 2 losses. Very impressive, but these numbers hardly tell a story of this amazing team. Their 2-year domination in Central Mass softball earned them the respect all over the state of Massachusetts. And if you watch them play, like so many of us did, you would have witnessed a bunch of talented young ladies who loved to play softball, competing with toughness and grit, enjoying being around each other every day, probably driving Coach O'Brien crazy at times, and always representing Fitchburg High School in the city of Fitchburg with class and dignity. If you watch this team play, you could not help but smile, for their enthusiasm and joy was truly contagious. Ladies, welcome to the Hall of Fame.
First of all and foremost, thank you to the committee, Mike Kelly, for all your calls, really appreciate it, and to the other recipients, well deserved. I'm not sure I should be here, to be perfectly honest with you. Most of this team goes to Coach Jacobs, Coach Billick, and Mike Donnelly. The core of that team was together for that many years. I considered myself, in the educational process, more of a guidance counselor. I came to practice every day. I had a blast. I enjoyed it each and every day. In 1995, this is how I got started. I was at Wachusett Regional watching my daughter Tara play, who was a junior at that time. And in about the 3rd inning, then Coach Tony Ilario had a little bit too much to say to an umpire, and he got one of these. I know you can't believe that from Tony, but. So Tony turns around, looks at me and goes, I said, me? That's how my coaching career at Fitchburg High School got started. Thank you to Doug Grutchfield, who made me an assistant coach the following year, and to Ray, who gave me the head coaching job in 2003. This group of girls is so dear to my heart, I can't put it into words. I had so much fun coaching at Fitchburg High School, so much fun, and that's what it was all about. It was fun. Where else can you go to have a group of girls like this and watch to see what they've turned into now, and to also coach your daughter, who was one hell of a pitcher in her own right. I had a blast doing this. This honor has got me so humbled. You have no idea. It's just fantastic. What the heck is a kid who graduated from Notre Dame High School, Irish Catholic, doing it at Fitchburg High School Hall of Fame induction? But here I am. I will leave you with this. A coach better than me, for sure, John Wooden, said, talent is God-given, be humble. Fame is man-given, be grateful. Conceit is self-given, be careful. Thank you.